That is so awful. Oh my God. Could you actually tell me what's going to be most helpful to you right now? Validation, distraction, problem solving, or just like a listening ear? Because whatever you want, I will give it to you and it will be 1,000% genuine. But I just want to know how I can best help you. So can you please tell me?
If you're neurodivergent, you have to listen to me when I say this. The way that you communicate is different from how other people communicate. And most likely, you're probably right, but you're still wrong. So in the neurotypical world, which is the world that we live in, when people vent to you, a lot of times they just want you to hear them out. And this is why people will vent to you and they say the same thing over and over and over and over and over. And if you're neurodivergent and you like to get to the point, you appreciate brevity. You appreciate people telling you what the problem is. You have a solution. You tell them and you expect them to execute and implement it. You're going to be very disappointed. You're going to be disappointed because in the neurotypical world, the rules are different. So common sense is not so common. And we really should reframe it and call it something else, because what you consider to be common sense is completely unknown to everybody else. People don't understand what you're saying because it makes too much sense. You're making too much sense. And sometimes you can make too much sense and you can tell the truth and still be wrong. I know it doesn't make any sense. I don't know why, but sometimes you can tell the truth and you can make too much sense and you can still be wrong. Or it's the wrong information that that person wants to hear. They didn't want to hear that. They're not venting to you because they want a solution. They're venting to you because they want to be heard and they want validation. The next day, they want to come and say the same thing to you over and over and over again. When we have these differences in communication, sometimes we suffer socially. I especially see this with autistic people. And if you've been keeping up with my content, you know that I define autism as being a different way of communicating and experiencing the world. So because you communicate and experience the world differently from how neurotypical people do, you're gonna be misunderstood. You're gonna be frustrated. You're gonna feel like you're preaching to the choir and you're talking and nobody's listening to you. What you're saying doesn't make sense to other people, but you're right. You have a tried and true solution. You're able to think in ways that make sense to you and to other neurodivergent people. But neurotypically speaking, in this society, we don't get credit for making sense. And as I'm explaining this in this video, I feel like I'm not making any sense. But if you're neurodivergent, you know what I'm talking about. You can make sense and you can have good solutions and everything checks out. It checks the boxes. But because of the world that we live in, if you don't adjust what you're saying for the social situation that you're in, you're gonna be wrong. It doesn't make sense.